And welcome back. We're 82 days away from the presidential election, and as the day nears, the race to the White House toughens up. Remember when Republican candidate Donald Trump said he'll win New York by a huge margin? Well, a survey from New York State's Siena College on Monday revealed that he's in a very unpopular place in his home state. The new poll on Monday showed that it's getting worse for Trump, with almost 75% of registered New Yorkers who are voters having a negative view of him, and 51% having a positive view of Democratic challenger Hillary Clinton. Now, these numbers follow a series of events over the weekend from both candidates revealing their economic plans, Clinton releasing her tax returns, to a controversial comment Trump made at a rally in Wilmington, North Carolina, where he said, and I quote, if she gets her, or I should say, quote, if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, quote, I don't know. Clinton responded to this comment by saying, words matter, my friends, and if you're running for president, you or the president of the United States, words can have tremendous consequences. Well, here to break this down and a whole lot more is a political commentator, Dominic Carter. He's from Regional News Network, better known, or Network News, I should say, better known as RNN. He's also been a political commentator here on the New York scene for many a year, and he's here to discuss what all this means comes Election Day. And Dominic, good to have you.
Welcome back. It's good to be here. And before we go on to any political topic, I must say up front, Darren, how much respect I seriously have for you. When you've been in this game, the political game, for 25, 30 years, you can say what you want, right? Okay? And what I am saying to you is that I have an enormous amount of respect for you. I have an enormous amount of respect for this open program. I think what you're doing for the people of the Bronx, the people of New York City, is outstanding.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that, and we're glad to have you here. So talk to us a little bit about this here, because here, front and center, as we said, Donald Trump's numbers are falling. He thought he would be able to carry New York State. He's finding out right now, roughly through poll numbers, the hard way. What do you think is the biggest thing that's really working against him in this moment?
Well, let me say this for full disclosure up front. I bring a very unique perspective towards covering Hillary Clinton, towards covering Donald Trump, because I know both of them on a personal level, okay? I know them as professional politicians. I know them as people I've talked to, interviewed privately, talked to privately. For example, and again, before we discuss Trump, full disclosure, his latest book, Think Like a Champion, he starts the book, paragraph 1, praising me. So full disclosure for the people of the Bronx, he has had a lot of nice things to say about me in the past. But with that said, to understand Donald Trump is to understand that he is a showman first. The Apprentice, the high ratings that it brought in. He's a showman. That's his style. That's his game. It worked for him in the Republican primary, becoming the nominee out of 17, 18 candidates. But what worked, Darren, in the primary is not working in the general election. So why? Because in the primary, he can offer constant red meat. In other words, he can say outrageous things. The more outrageous, you have to understand this, the more outrageous, the better for the base. He can make the horrible comment about Mexican Americans. He can talk about all types of things. He can allude to double talk all the time, in which you cited the last example, in which it could have been interpreted that he was saying people that are strong supporters of the Second Amendment might go out and assassinate Hillary Clinton. But then he says, no, I was talking about the political lobbying power of the NRA. To understand him, Darren, is to understand that he is a showman. But what worked then is not working now. Here in the Bronx, across New York State, the poll you referred to, in fairness to Trump, this is a blue state. Democrats control this state. So Hillary Clinton, basically a daughter of the state as a senator from New York, Hillary Clinton has a 30-point lead here in New York, and that's not surprising. Trump, you could see him winning the New York primary on the Republican line, which he actually did. but it wasn't too hard because you have people talking about their total disdain for New York. So he could do it in the primary, but the general election is a different story.
And we're talking economics now because both of them have talked about an economic plan, Hillary Clinton revealing her economic plan. Before I go to the economic plan, let's talk about these tax returns because you have Hillary on one side saying, you're asking the president to show his birth certificate, but you don't want to show your tax returns. Donald Trump says, I'm in the middle of an audit. Listen, when the audit is over, hopefully before November, I'll be able to do that. Should a sitting president be, or a person that's seeking office, show their tax returns, given the fact that Trump pressed so hard for a sitting president to show birth certificate?
Someone that's been in this political game as long as you already know the answer to that question.
But I still got to ask it
that's
anyway.
right. You still got to ask it anyway. Of course, you should not be able to obtain the highest position of the land without revealing your tax return. Mitt Romney did it, every Republican going back in recent memory, every Democrat in recent memory. And what Hillary Clinton did recently, Darren, was up the ante in terms of, listen, I'm going to put more of my tax returns out there. Where are yours? Why is Trump not doing this? One, it plays well with his base where he's constantly putting his thumb in the eye of the media. That plays very well. In other words, this is what the media wants, and basically what the media wants is always going to be what the public wants. If this is what they want, no, I'm not going to do it. So why isn't he doing it? Because one, a couple of reasons. My strong hunch, knowing him quite a while, is going to be that knowing his business skill, he's probably paying very little taxes.
He's admitted that.
He's admitted that on past returns. I'm talking about recent returns. And this garbage about I'm under audit, some tax people have said that's a smart strategy to not release your returns, but others have said that that's absolute nonsense. That's no reason to stop a person from releasing their taxes. So what does Trump do? If he's worth 300 million, he's known for saying that he's worth 5 billion. So I believe that in all likelihood, one of the reasons why he won't release his returns is that he is extremely successful financially. But I think that he's talked a lot more than what he's actually worth. And he's going to be embarrassed that he's not. It's because let's be honest, Darren, what's the Trump winning message across America? From Idaho to Wisconsin to New York, what's the winning message? I've made a ton of money. You can be as successful as me. That's what got him in trouble with that university idea that's going to court very soon.
Right.
And so, but I think at the end of the day, we're going to find out he's not, as if he releases his taxes, he's not worth as much as he says he is.
Let me talk to you about the GOP for a moment. Obviously, knowing that Donald Trump is in this category, many people are saying the GOP should cut ties right now, worry about saving the Senate, the Congress, take care of that first. And we're starting to see some people walk away and say, listen, I'm not supporting Trump and I'm making a stand. Is this because they want to save political face for later on? Or is it honestly because they have this strong disdain for Donald Trump?
Well, I don't know about the strong disdain for Trump, but I do know that Trump is exposing himself to not having any political coattails. And so he, as of right now, let me be clear. The presidential election could change at any moment. A terrorist attack, the email scandal that won't go away for Hillary Clinton. The numbers could change. She's up on an average nationally about 9 to 10 points right now. It could change it at any moment. But what's happening, Darren, as of right now, at this moment, as we are on BronxNet, Trump is destroying the Republican Party. As it looks as of right now, and all politics are local, it could change. But those Senate races across the country, New Hampshire, a couple of other states that are really up in the air, you're talking about 5 seats, and which is indicating with the Senate that the Democrats could take those seats. If the Democrats take those seats, they have control of the Senate. So there is an enormous amount at stake. Trump cares about the Trump brand. But with him right now, the Republican Party is going completely down the drain.
Talk to me more a little bit about Hillary Clinton. Obviously, we know that she has come out from this email scandal, the first one, pretty much unscathed, got a real hard censure. But there's still questions about another possible email and what that would possibly do for her campaign. If another email scandal hits, Does that favor Donald Trump, and does it hurt Hillary Clinton to the point that she could lose the seat?
What's ironic, Darren, each candidate is looking at a death of 1,000 cuts. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. The problem for Trump right now is he keeps putting his foot in his mouth almost on a daily basis that no matter what Hillary Clinton does, it's overshadowed because Trump is he's dominating the news cycle. That's a good thing. But the bad thing is he's dominating the news cycle for all the wrong reasons. So for the last 3 weeks, it would have been better for Trump if he had been on vacation and just let Hillary Clinton face the headlines. She came out, and according to most pundits, she lied recently about the FBI comments, the FBI director. It's been one mistake after another. This race to the White House is almost like who's going to be the least unfavorable candidate when they both have high negatives. You know when you say you pick the
Lesser of two evils.
Lesser of two evils. That's a good word. And so, but Trump, if he would just shut up and stop with his nonsense and stick to the teleprompter and stop talking off the cuff, because when he talks off the cuff, that's when he gets in trouble, Darren. Yeah. That's when he makes the outrageous statements.
And the truth is, he says that he doesn't like using a teleprompter. He said you would never catch him using a teleprompter. And of course, we have since caught him using, a teleprompter there. Let me talk about New York ties for a minute. All politics are local. You've got Donald Trump, whose base is New York. You've got Hillary Clinton, who served as senator in New York. Now, she's not originally from New York, but of course, she has New York ties. Given the fact that the White House is going to go to somebody with New York ties, does it have any local implications here?
Well, who could have ever predicted, Darren, that we would be looking at a presidential race where each candidate from the major party has major New York ties? Who could have ever have predicted that? Now, looking at it from the political arena, New York is solidly blue. It's not a contested state. It's not a major. Now, for people here in the Bronx to say, well, how could you say New York is not major? They come here, ka-ching, and they raise money. Yes, New York is a ATM for any candidate running for national office, often for statewide office. But because New York is so Democratic, it is in the Democrats' hand. So that's why Hillary Clinton is going to do well here. There's no doubt about it. Trump, for all of his bravado, appears is not going to do as well here. Just look at his ideas. They don't really play well in Democratic states like New York. So New York is in play in terms of the entire nation is watching that both candidates are from New York, but politically it's not really going to be in play. What's in play are states like Colorado, Florida, Pennsylvania, the big states, Ohio. And the reason why I say don't write Trump off, because as of the last couple of weeks in many of those states, he's been the battleground states, he's been doing okay. So don't write him off yet.
Yeah, we'll see. Let me go back to something local here. We talked about, last time we had you here, we talked about New York City Police Commissioner William Bratton resigning, of course, and the implication that would be for the de Blasio administration. It's been a couple of weeks. Has the dust settled, and what do we think is going to happen now that, we've got an interim commissioner, a commissioner that's taken over? What are we hearing on the ground now?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I don't know much about the new commissioner, Commissioner O'Neill, and that's not a good thing, because I've been in this political game for 30 years, and I know all the players coming up, and you can always tell the people in the background that are with the commissioner. You can always tell which ones are going to move up and which ones are angling to be the next commissioner. So he's come out of nowhere. The problem for Mayor de Blasio, who polling indicates African Americans, minorities, Latinos, are still solidly in his corner. The problem for de Blasio happens to be this, Darren. Bratton, who I covered under Rudy Giuliani the first time he was here, Bratton gave de Blasio cover. Bratton was de Blasio's superstar crime fighter that gave him constant cover with the money crowd, with the business crowd. Now, going into an election year, his
don't have that.
superstar is gone.
Right.
And people were talking about the borough president here, Ruben Diaz, possibly, who's very photogenic, who has the personality. They're talking about people like Brooklyn borough president Eric Adams. Again, very photogenic, has the personality. Also, city controller, the city controller, his name escapes me at the second, but the city controller possibly running. There are 3 contenders possibly challenging de Blasio in a primary. That's almost unheard of.
And we're even hearing the word Letitia James.
Right, the public
possibly.
advocate.
Right.
She's out there, and she's got a very promising political future ahead of herself. African-American woman.
Right. So as we look around, there's possibly several candidates that will challenge Mayor de Blasio going on this next election, and this police commissioner thing will be a major part.
And you know, Bratton got out. He says he wants to make more money, and you have to respect that because he's getting up there in age. But he also got out right as all these scandals are surfacing with the NYPD. Mm-hmm. So Bratton's very image savvy, mm-hmm. and he will leave with his image intact, as the NYPD is going to be facing. They're under investigation by the U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara. Lots of things on the plate right now for the NYPD.
Of course, and we'll be continuing to monitor that. Got to bring you back as you continue to let us know what's going on.
I'd love to come back. I respect you tremendously.
I respect you too.
For what you're doing for our community, and this show is fantastic.
I don't want to date you, but I remember listening to you on the radio too.
And I'm happy. I was listening to your headline. I know you're out of time. Mm-hmm. I was listening to your headline about the new Y that's coming up near the Eaton Wall projects. I come out of the BronxNet houses, the Patterson houses. That's fantastic news.
It is. It's good news. It's good news. And we're going to share that story with you in a few minutes. That and much more. Why don't you stay with us? Dominic, thanks again. Good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, take a quick break. Listen, we have more open. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.